trend to dislike me. You speak about me so much, so you must like me.
Officers said they used what looked like an unmarked police car to get people to pull over, and one of those so-called traffic stops went very wrong.
We're about to be more active on YouTube. We posted videos every single day, whether it's vlogs, whether it's pranks.
And what looks like it was a prank.
Baby, I'm a changed man now, baby. Come back home. 300 likes on this video.
This baby out here begging for food in the background of his videos.
Are you a cheater?
Duh.
Getting pimped out for views, clickbait, thumbnails, and shit.
This is 423. YouTuber and apparently rapper Chris Sales was arrested on Thursday, April 9th.
I never maliciously move or try to take someone's family away.
Queen has made a whole empire and a whole career and gotten so much gain.
So yeah, we're gonna keep vlogging. Thank y'all.
Gift cards and intimate toys to everyone who signs up using my link. Stay tuned. From two influencers who ran a beloved and successful family channel,
What's that thing about your boy Chris? As you can see, we are married.
He's be doing too much.
to a man whose mugshots are posted online through his countless arrests as his ex-partner moves on to become a platinum record-selling artist. You really cannot make this stuff up. So how did the shocking transformation of Chris and Queen take place?
Honestly, I'll probably grow real strong to be like very independent. Probably be doing the same thing as him, living life, doing big things. You know, I be singing and stuff like that.
Toxic love and internet egotism playing out for the entire world to see.
I look bad bitches, but I don't love they problems.
While people may hate the influencers Chris Sales and Queen Naja,
It's this public figure and everybody start hating you and your money drop. You can't pay your bills.
the hate has only continued to fuel their careers, propelling them further into the spotlight.
Now let's talk about how everybody was blaming you for everything.
I'm the joke of Twitter. I'm about to make some shirts. I blame Queen Naja. So if y'all hate me, y'all can, you know what I'm saying, go get your shirt.
Chris Sales has been on social media practically since you could start making money off of being a YouTuber. People almost immediately loved him. What Chris has always been really good at is finding ways to play on people's emotions and appear like a very good guy. The main way Chris did this was through his relationship to Queen, which he posted online as the most idealistic, loving relationship. Unfortunately, all that glitters isn't always gold. And now it's time for this video's sponsorship. I tailor my sponsors to my audience and what you guys are interested in, as well as companies that interest me with their messaging and what they stand for. And this video's sponsor is Bellesa. Bellesa is a bi-woman company for all things sexual wellness. I've worked with Bellesa in the past, but I wasn't as versed in their ethics and focus as a brand, so I really wanted to focus on that today, since I personally care a lot about that with the companies I work with, and I know you care a lot about that too. Bellesa is a company focused on creating a community where pleasure is not only normalized but celebrated, so that you can embrace your sexuality on your own terms. You should never feel shame for exploring who you are. Another thing I wanted to highlight in better detail in today's video is Bellesa's giveaway system, because I think it's a really cool system where you can get a lot of benefits. Bellesa is giving away gift cards as well as fully free toys to everyone when you sign up using my link. This means that it's fully free to enter, and using my link, everyone gets something. Bellesa's mission is to empower everyone to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. You can explore your pleasure and self-play with Bellesa's Pebble, Air Vibe, and Thump. One of my favorite things about Bellesa's products is the size. If you're looking for something travel-friendly, easy to hold, discreet, but also accessible, I feel like Bellesa thought of all of those things in each of their products. The Pebble offers suction and vibration controlled independently and is ergonomically built to fit perfectly in your hand with no annoying pattern modes. If you know, you know. The Air Vibe has dual stimulation with both G-spot and clit stimulation. It comes in discreet casing, is waterproof, rechargeable, and silent. The Thump is a toy that vibrates, suctions, and thumps. It utilizes Bellesa's improved Pleasure Jet technology. The True Feel vibrations naturally complement the suction at its targeted base, as well as innovative thump technology for natural clitoral palpitations on the back of the pop grip. The Thump fits and charges in a discreet carrying case and is also waterproof and USB rechargeable, made from premium quality silicone. If you want to explore all that Bellesa has to offer using my link in the description. Anyone who enters can receive a free toy or gift card. And I hope everyone has an enjoyable experience of self-exploration with Bellesa. Chris Sales, full name Christopher Jeremiah Sales, was born in Detroit, Michigan in September of 1995. Chris has briefly spoken about his tumultuous childhood, mainly due to his absent biological mother.
I was 6 years old, wondering when my mama was gonna come back and get me. I've been through some shit, my nigga. I got kicked out of my mom Duke's crib, sleeping in a car in Detroit.
Growing up, Chris always wanted to pursue a life in music and entertainment, and in 2012, Chris created his first YouTube channel to upload music. In 2013, he went to a basketball game where he met Queen Naija.
It was at Romulus versus Truman basketball game.
You feel me?
Queen friends like, oh, look at that boy, he over there looking sexy.
The two started dating as high school seniors in Detroit, Michigan. Queen Naija was born in October 17th, 1995 in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Her father's from Yemen and her birth name Queen was given to her by her mother. Queen and Chris initially connected on their shared passions and interests, primarily for music and religion. Queen also wanted to pursue a life in music and entertainment just as much as Chris did. And in 2014, Queen auditioned for the American singing reality show competition American Idol. She made it through the initial audition round process, receiving a golden ticket to go to Hollywood.
I feel like I could be the next American Idol. I didn't think that I would, ever be anything in life. When I got my golden ticket, I ran out. My aunt said all she seen was the dress and the golden ticket because I flew out so fast.
Queen was eliminated after the judges cut down the contestants to the top 20 during Rush Week. Instead of continuing to pursue a recording contract and her dreams in music, soon after being on American Idol, Queen found out she was pregnant at the age of 18. According to Queen's childhood friend Markeisha, Chris initially proposed to Queen after she found out she was pregnant, but she declined.
Chris had proposed to her before that, and she said no. She said, because Markeisha, I'm not ready. Chris is not the one for me. Soon as she got pregnant with CJ, what did she say? I do. A baby do not keep a relationship together. Y'all need to learn that.
Queen's other friend Angela confirmed that Queen initially panicked when she found out she was pregnant and eventually accepted Chris's proposal due to her religion.
He was like, I don't know what to do, Ange. I don't know how to tell mama. We Christian. We not supposed to get pregnant outside of marriage.
So Chris and Queen ended up getting married and having their son Christopher Sales Jr. in February of 2015 when Queen was only 19 years old. Based off of the birth of their son, Chris started another YouTube channel titled Daddy and Me, where he uploaded videos of himself being a dad to his newborn son. Though many of the early videos of Chris, Queen, and little Chris seemed happy on the surface, the reality was far from perfect. Getting married so young and having a child so quickly seemed to cause a breakdown in the relationship. Chris allegedly became an absent father and completely failed to show up in Queen or their son's life. This seems to be a pattern that we often see with family channels where they get together at a young age and have children fairly quickly, and then things completely fall apart. According to Queen, after getting married and having their son, the couple's relationship was miserable. Chris was an absent parent, failing to show up physically and emotionally in CJ's life. Chris prioritized other women and even sleeping in and playing video games.
We was like full-blown married and everything, and like this guy would be always just like getting caught texting girls. I used to just like beg for his time a lot. So instead of being home with me in the bed with his wife and at home with his son, he would just be hanging out all night.
At the time, Queen was the primary provider for the family and working as a security guard, and she couldn't even rely on Chris to drop her off at her job if she needed a ride.
He wasn't working at the time. I was working. I was the only one working. He would not take me to work, and I actually almost lost my job.
While neglecting his family, Chris had affairs with a bunch of different people. When Chris and Queen ended up becoming known on social media, Queen's friends spoke about this time in their relationship. Queen's friend Angela claimed that Chris had been cheating on her ever since the two got together.
Chris been cheating. Chris been cheating since they got together, and he ain't just cheating with females.
I do want to put a disclaimer here. While I do believe that Chris has done a lot of terrible things that we will be talking about in this video, I don't think it's right to out anyone or claim their sexuality for them. Queen's childhood friends also made claims of domestic violence. Queen's friend Angela recalled a specific incident where Queen called her for support during one of Chris's violent outbursts.
I was in the car with your mama and your siblings when Chris put his hands on you and beat the shit out of you. It all goes back to Chris. you don't know the real Queen. She was just humble and all about God.
Initially, when Queen's friends came forward and spoke about their perspective on Chris and Queen's relationship, Queen denied everything. Queen made a post on Instagram that read, "Everything that you guys are seeing on social media isn't true. For one, these so-called best friends I supposedly had were only in my life as associates, on and off." So Queen tried to sweep this all under the rug and stuck by Chris and her relationship. While Queen did try to file for divorce for the first time in July of 2016 and even had a brief fling with another person during the separation.
Sleazy Ray on Facebook, and you beep beep every chance you get. Whenever he ain't beating your beep.
Chris and Queen eventually got back together. Because Queen didn't appear in court, the divorce was subsequently thrown out. When the couple reconciled, they were back better than ever and started to post a lot on social media. They ended up gaining a lot of attention and followers on Instagram and formed a fan base on their joint Instagram account off of their hashtag couple goals. So by August of 2016, Chris ended up persuading Queen to create the Chris and Queen YouTube channel off of their growing social media following.
I started going viral from Facebook and Instagram before YouTube. You know the little viral memes that be going around with the cute couples and everything like that?
Yep. Relationship goals.
Yeah, like relationship goals. We were taking cute pictures, doing cute videos. When they were being posted, like I said, they would go viral. So we started doing YouTube. We're gonna do this, you know, as a job because I got fired from my job. We ain't had no camera, nothing like that, and we just worked our way up.
And all of Chris's experience creating YouTube channels finally paid off. The YouTube channel Chris and Queen gained success fairly quickly, and before they knew it, the channel had gained over 2.9 million subscribers.
We're gonna try this again.
Okay.
What's that with Chris? Wait.
It's a yes, bro. We about to do the yoga challenge, bro.
We never did the record long lost overseas.
Bro, we just woke up. We about to get our day started.
Chris and Queen eventually made the move to Houston, Texas, along with their success, where their other YouTuber friends also lived, and they were able to collaborate more frequently with other successful YouTubers and online celebrities. Yet it seems that Chris and Queen had that special sauce that made people seriously love them and their content. Chris and Queen rose to popularity by uploading stereotypical couples content, mainly vlogs and pranks.
It's just a prank, bro. Chill. Hey. Queen is really about to cry, bro. Why is you about to cry?
When I get irritated, I cry. You irritating.
Their vlogs gave viewers an insight into their daily lives, still with an aesthetic image attached, so viewers could connect with the couple and feel like they were a part of their journey.
He said he really liked the fact that I took my weave out.
Yes, bro. She looks so much pretty. Every time we would cuddle, bro, I couldn't even play her hair. I swear on my life. Every time we would cuddle, I felt like big lumps in them, and I couldn't rub in her head.
Their pranks, on the other hand, shifted away from their family-friendly vlogs and were more harmful and explicit in nature. Most of their pranks made it appear to the audience that their relationship was in jeopardy in some way.
She gonna do her stuff, bro. Chill. She gonna do her stuff.
I'm about to see myself.
It's just a prank, bro. Chill.
We good.
Whether it was pretending to be unfaithful, placing each other on child support, prank, pointing out each other's bad hygiene, or coming out of the closet, prank.
No. Oh my God, you really got a fatty. Chris. And this dress cute too.
Both content styles, the vlogs and pranks, fed into one another, and all of it was based on further building up a parasocial relationship with their viewers, and of course, profiting off of that parasocial relationship.
You about to get caught up, and if you do, Chris, I swear to God, I'm leaving. I swear on my life. Who the hell is this, Chris?
Beyond developing a parasocial relationship with viewers, Chris tried to find even more ways to make money off of his new social media following. In the early days of Chris and Queen, Chris was involved in this very scammy social media scheme where he advertised discounted iPhones on social media.
What's going on, Von? I know I don't be on here a lot, but I'm selling iPhone 6s, 6S, and Apple Watches. Just VM me. I got the iPhone 6 and the 6S for sale. For any carrier.
Instead of going to the store and buying an iPhone, buy a heavily discounted iPhone through him. Just send the money to him and he'll get it to you. Trust him. He's part of your favorite parasocial internet couple. What could go wrong? A woman named Lorena Morales came forward to expose Chris for not sending him the iPhone she paid for, and then blocking her once she paid him.
I saw the video and I DM'd him, and I was like, hi, wondering if you guys are selling iPhones, and he was like, yeah, what's your number?
How this scam worked is Chris used his friend Jaylon Coleman to do his dirty work, having his followers send the money to Jaylon and then ghosting them once he got his money.
How's your day going so far? You said 250, right?
This story got out from a lady named Lori. Basically what happened is that she put in money and she never got the iPhone and was blocked by these guys.
I mean, one would think it would be obvious and I wouldn't have to say this, but advertising products through social media and not shipping them out is illegal and constitutes as fraud and deceptive business practices. Many disgruntled viewers shared their experience after having paid Chris and not received an iPhone.
I'm contacting you guys since last night after you received my payment and haven't heard anything from you. You take people's hard-earned money and you think you can make it?
Many other people have been scammed by this couple as well. Check out these receipts.
Look at what this fan had to say. I'm not asking for a confession, just a confirmation on when the phone is supposed to get here.
Despite people providing a ton of proof that Chris scammed his supporters, Chris adamantly denied these claims. Chris claimed that he and Queen were social media famous and that they would never mess up their name for $250.
Allegedly, these are some of the messages that he would send to his fans to convince them that what he was selling was real. Well, we're social media famous. It's not hard for us to not get in trouble with the law. We're all over the place. Wouldn't mess our name up for $250.
YouTuber Martin Lewis got in contact with Chris on the streaming platform YouNow, where Chris claimed that the woman who exposed him was just looking for fame.
What's going on with the cell phone?
That was something that this girl was making up. She was making up something, and she basically wanted all these big companies to, basically, she's doing it for fame.
Yet instead of Chris ever getting any major attention or accountability for this scammy behavior, it was Queen who ended up in some major controversy. Queen uploaded a video talking about how she was bullied as a child in 2017 that ended up haunting her for the rest of her career. In the video, Queen described her bullies as nappy-headed little girls.
I didn't do nothing to know. It seemed like always ugly people bullied me. I'm sorry.
So such thing as ugly people?
Well, it don't have nothing to do with, look, y'all, before y'all start going in, it don't have nothing to do with color, but them are always the people that bully me. It was always some little black little girls bullying me with some old little terrible hairstyles. But anyway.
Colorism in the Black community refers to the discrimination or preferential treatment to those based on the shade of their skin.
I had to do 10 interviews in order to get this job. I then realized when she told me her pay and my pay, there was a gap. It's the experience of tons of darker skinned Black women.
In 2018, Queen decided to address the rumors of her being a colorist in a video she uploaded to YouTube. I feel like melanin's beautiful. The words I have used in the past, they were probably ignorant. Not probably, they were ignorant. Back then, I didn't know they were ignorant because that's what I was just used to. I wasn't that educated on my culture and wasn't deeply rooted into it. She added that in the past, she didn't understand how she offended anyone, but that she now sees how her words affected people, especially Black women.
Maybe that was wrong. Maybe I could have said something different, but I was just trying to describe the girls that bullied me when I was little because, you know, for some reason, like, it was only that tight.
While both Chris and Queen have had a lot of controversy throughout their careers and have done a lot of problematic things, I think that this situation shows the dynamic at play. Chris was ultimately the more charismatic of the two partners, so Queen kind of got more of the hate, whereas Chris didn't catch as much accountability for his actions, or if he did, it didn't really stick with him long term. You can really see this in the internet meme I Blame Queen Naija, where literally, and I mean literally, Queen is blamed for every single bad thing that happens online.
I laugh at like y'all is funny, and I just go right along with them. Like, I'm about to make some shirts. I blame Queen Naija. So if y'all hate me, y'all can, you know what I'm saying, go get your shirt.
I just think it's funny how people from the internet woke up one day and chose to blame Queen Naija for any inconvenience that happened in their life. Like, why and how did Queen Naija become the root to all of our problems? Why do we say I blame Queen Naija?
Yet Chris was doing a lot of bad things behind the scenes that would soon come to light. A video was posted in late 2017 with 3 women, Jada, Maya, and Helena, that exposed Chris for cheating on Queen.
I'm Jada. I'm Maya. I'm Helena, and we're here to address something that happened a couple days ago, which is really sad.
Jada and Helena were approached by Chris in a club. During their conversation, Chris said he did not have a girlfriend. I mean, he had a wife and was married, so I guess he's not wrong.
He was telling us like how he's single.
Yes, I asked him. I was like, do you have a girlfriend? He was like, no, I'm single.
Chris then tried to go home with both women, but according to the women, nothing happened that night. Though Chris did exchange numbers with Helena. The two made plans to see one another, and Helena invited over Jada and Maya as safety precautions.
I was like doing this to Chris and stuff like that, just being like flirtatious. And he whispers in my ear and he says, I'm going home with the both of you guys. And I just started laughing like, you're crazy. And he like does this and he starts feeling on me.
At the time, Chris also told the women that he and his baby mama make YouTube videos together, but that it was strictly business. Chris also did not wear his ring while interacting with other women.
He just made us think he did some YouTube with his baby mama, but they only did it for money. And like he's like all on me, like kissing me and all this stuff. Obviously I was stupid and I was like, I got in the Uber and then we ended up going back to his hotel. The stuff that happened is obviously what you're thinking.
Skeptics and fans immediately criticized these girls because they claimed they never watched Chris and Queen before.
He started talking to us about his YouTube channel. We had a really good conversation. Mind you, we have no idea who Queen is.
Helena made a follow-up video claiming that she met with Chris more than once. The two had their first date at the restaurant chain Denny's. Helena even claimed that on their first date, Chris was trying to make plans with her to travel to New York City.
Our first date was at Denny's. We talked about going to New York. He told me that he had all the money to do so, that he really liked me and he really felt a connection. He was telling the waitress that I'm his wife.
Chris took her on a follow-up date the very next day to Beverly Hills. He said we could make a YouTube channel, we could go skydiving, travel the world together. He said he'd fly me to Houston so we could make music together. This, as I'm sure a lot of you have probably picked up on, is a tactic known as love bombing. Love bombing is a tactic where someone overwhelms their partner, usually very early into a new relationship, with attention, affection, all to gain control. Love bombing can include constant compliments, lavish gifts, intense declarations of love, and promises of a perfect future together before the person even really knows their partner. While it may seem romantic, love bombing is a form of emotional manipulation designed to create dependency.
They're acting as if they love you because they were just doing it to prove to themselves that they could get you.
So you're gonna come see me?
Yeah, I'm gonna come see you. You know I gotta come see you. Okay, I'm gonna text you this music one day.
Okay, text me.
I made him turn up the music on you.
Okay. Fucking bitch.
He's such a liar. Unfortunately, because Chris and Queen had such a huge following, the women's initial claims were met with a ton of skepticism and even a lot of backlash. Chris and Queen didn't just build up a parasocial following, they built up a parasocial army who came to idealize their relationship, live vicariously through the couple, see them as relationship goals. So even when these 3 girls provided sufficient evidence that Chris cheated and had the intention of cheating, their audience couldn't believe it. So they immediately resorted to attacking the women who came forward. But this was only the start of negative information coming out about Chris and Queen's relationship. A few months before any of this information came out, Chris was allegedly already cheating on Queen. Chris was in a relationship with another woman named Jennifer, who is a trans woman. After their relationship ended, Jennifer released screenshots of her conversations with Chris. The screenshots ended up getting posted by a channel on YouTube.
She's a bad fine ass transsexual. Like, she's a very stunning woman, obviously. So allegedly what she said in the interview, she said that she met Chris through Facebook, and that's when they started communicating towards each other. Lol, you're really young. That makes up anything.
Queen had allegedly caught Chris and Jennifer on the phone together one time, and after looking through his phone and finding Jennifer's number, Queen contacted Jennifer and asked whether she was talking to Chris.
Queen ended up messaging Jennifer, and this is what she said. "Oh, you talking to my husband?"
Jennifer showed even more evidence of her interaction, including screenshots from their video calls where you can see Chris's face and tattoos. And in one video, Chris seems to be lying down with his son CJ. After the incident with Queen, Jennifer was hesitant to continue the relationship, advising Chris to take things slow and just be friends. Chris also tried to tell Jennifer that he wasn't really married and that he and Queen weren't in a real relationship.
"I'm telling you, we're not married." "Okay, well, I want us to still talk and get to know one another."
In his messages with Jennifer, Chris also described Queen as insecure. Chris has gone on to further talk about Queen having insecurity issues in his videos. Chris complained that Queen's insecurities annoyed him throughout the relationship and that it was difficult to be with someone so insecure.
She was already insecure, and I always tried to make her feel beautiful. Up until, you know how, y'all know, come on now, y'all know how relationships are. When y'all get mad at each other, y'all say hurtful things. You already was insecure. Always ask me, am I ugly? Am I fat? Does this? And I will always tell her no. But then after a certain while, yeah, I started thinking she was ugly, and yeah, I started thinking she was fat.
I wonder why she was so insecure. I wonder why she could possibly feel that way. You also wonder if Queen was naturally an insecure person, or if that was created through Chris's constant infidelity. Irregardless, Chris definitely caused more insecurities. Seems like he was really wanting to, I don't know, fuck around and find out, because what would happen once Queen really did figure out her self-worth? Well, she might wonder why the heck she was giving this dude the time of day and start pouring more love into herself. And there's a lot of power in just that simple action. Chris and Queen started their time on social media as the perfect couple, so the idea that either one of them cheated on the other seemed initially unfathomable to the audience. But Chris shocked everyone when he uploaded a 13-minute video admitting to cheating and apologizing to Queen.
First and foremost, I owe an apology to Queen for hurting her. We go through stuff, man. We not perfect, you know. We not perfect at all. I messed around with other females, you know. She's a queen in my eyes, and just because I made a mistake, you know, don't mean she can't forgive me.
The drama would only get more chaotic from this point. After the couple posted their videos, Jada, one of the girls who had exposed Chris for cheating, reached out to YouTuber Martin Lewis, saying that another woman had emailed her claiming that Chris had also tried cheating with that woman's friend. He used the same excuse, saying that he and Queen were only together to make content. The email included a video of the woman on FaceTime with Chris. In the video, Chris seems to be hiding in the bathroom. Jada and Maya also posted a video claiming Chris had threatened them for exposing him.
It's gonna be bad, like for me to try to help her out and her trying to play me like that.
He knows where she stays, and he advises her to take it down.
More and more, Chris's true colors were coming out, and yet Queen stayed in the relationship with Chris, which further confused their audience, who wasn't sure what to believe. Because the cheating scandal was blasted so broadly and so publicly, many speculated that maybe the scandal was manufactured and scripted for views. However, over time, Chris has brazenly admitted to being unfaithful.
Are you a cheater? No.
But after the scandal, the couple stayed together and created a ton of content playing off of the cheating controversy. Chris posted videos all focused on winning back Queen's affection.
I just need everybody to spell her Instagram name is Queen Naja. So that's Queen Naja. Everybody go spell Chris wants to cook for you in bed.
As if they're both triangulating their fans in a toxic relationship. The couple's former manager, Janae, has since gone to TikTok to expose that a lot of the content that was filmed this time was highly scripted. She even showed an unreleased clip where Queen was reenacting the moment that she found out about Chris's infidelity, which is so strange. Imagine your partner cheats on you and you have to film your reaction in front of a camera and then reenact it.
In a video of Chris. Look.
That scene was her telling Trey that she had saw that Chris had cheated and that it was coming all out on social media and stuff. And so this was her reenacting her feelings.
I can understand the idea of some family channels being a positive thing for people to look to see good examples of parenting, relationships, and family values of all different shapes and sizes, especially if you don't have those good examples in your own life. But the reality is, family channels have strayed so far from that idea and exploit so many people in the process. Chris and Queen are a good example of how family channels and even couples channels don't only exploit their own children, but often also exploit their young child viewers. Since family channels are often rated as family friendly, they're promoted to younger viewers. These family channels manipulate their young viewers into developing a parasocial relationship with them, and then stage toxic events that manipulate that parasocial bond to keep those young viewers engaging in their content. Ultimately, it feels very unhealthy for those who are young and impressionable and engaging with that content. Around the time that Chris and Queen were at their most toxic on social media, Queen reached out to fellow influencer Clarence White through Instagram. Clarence played basketball at Bloomfield College in the NCAA Division II level, but after his dreams of entering the NBA fell through, Clarence shifted his focus to fashion and social media. Clarence quickly grew a following, amassing hundreds of thousands of followers. After seeing Clarence frequently on her page, Queen decided to reach out to him at the time that her and Chris really were not getting along.
You kept seeing me on your Explore page.
Yeah.
Like, what made you like me? You got what I'm saying?
Alright, y'all, he was my Instagram crush for the longest. Like, even back at the apartment with the red couch.
According to Queen, around this time, Chris was behaving like a single man with no intention of salvaging their marriage. At the time, Clarence had a partner and was in a relationship, but he claimed their situation was complicated. He also ran a clothing company called Designed by White and promised to send Chris and Queen some products. So Queen followed Clarence on Instagram, which enraged Chris.
Once someone is disloyal, they move single, they're doing it blatantly, you know it, and they don't care. I don't know, I wanted to converse with someone else, I guess, you know? That's the honest truth.
Chris did everything he could to block communication between Clarence and Queen.
I went to look for him on Instagram, I couldn't find him, so I went to my blacklist like, yo, did I block him? And I know I didn't do it, so in my head, I'm like, okay, I ain't block him, I know who did it.
So, Chris wasn't in a respectful relationship with Queen, where they had mutually agreed upon boundaries and established rules around monogamy. No, instead, he just wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Have full freedom for his own actions, but full control over his partner's actions. Sounds like possessiveness at its finest. By late September of 2017, Chris and Queen uploaded a couple's therapy session video. In the video, Chris claimed to have lost count of how many times he cheated on his wife.
Was everything she said in the video along those lines true?
And by October, Chris and Queen had separated for good. Chris had also taken ownership of the channel and changed the channel name from Chris and Queen to just Chris Sales, taking over the channel all for himself.
So you know, them separating, it could affect business in a really big way.
The same month that Chris and Queen separated, Clarence uploaded a Smash or Pass YouTube video in which he and his friend rated different women. The video gained a lot of attention for the section where he mentioned Queen. This was because a lot of people had perceived Clarence's actions and statements in the section where Queen was mentioned to mean that he didn't really find Queen that attractive.
Chris and Queen. Hold on. What's that? She's nice. Just hot. She don't got this sweet spicy. She's nice though.
2 months later, Queen took a vacation to New York, where Clarence was living. While Queen was in New York, she met Clarence for the first time.
What happens in NYC stays in NYC, baby.
Girl, got on a little something, you know what I'm saying? A little something.
Y'all, we just got back in, and it is. I told you, it's 7:38 in the morning. It's 7:38 in the morning. We just got back in. It's lit. It's lit. Our first night in New York was lit, okay?
Queen has been open about the fact that Chris cleared their joint bank accounts when they separated, and that she left for New York with little to no money to her name.
I need to get my money up, you know? I had money with the Chris and Queen channel, but when I left, I couldn't even have half of that.
Like he wasn't giving me half of it.
Queen had to rebuild her entire financial life and career from the ground up. Chris took all of it. Chris owned the channel that the two had built together, so Queen didn't really have an avenue to make money on her own. It's a scary thought, and I'm sure that's what keeps people in relationships for so long, when their financials are completely tied with another person. But at the same time, having a fresh start enabled Queen to completely start a career on her own terms. So Queen shifted her energy from her toxic relationship to her love of music and released her first single titled Medicine. As soon as you give an adulterer a taste of their own medicine, they want to trip out, as if they didn't do a million things to you. Medicine was an instant hit. It debuted at number 45 on the Billboard Hot 100, a huge accomplishment for an unsigned artist, and the song has since been certified 2 times platinum. After the song's release and subsequent success, Chris almost immediately tried to take the attention away from Queen, releasing his own song titled Letter to My Ex, which did not have the same success. Overall, Queen released music that people loved and resonated with. It's fair to say that she found her stride and gained her life back, creating a successful career and life for herself after her toxic relationship ended. In a bad relationship, many times a toxic partner will make the other partner feel dependent on them, as if they would be nothing without them, so they're afraid to leave the relationship, scared they won't be able to make it on their own. Queen is an example of how this is not the case, how actually leaving a situation that's unhealthy for you will allow you to thrive so much more. Over time, with the success of Queen's music career, Clarence's sister, Lee, ended up becoming Queen's manager.
Claire's sister, which is Lee, she was like business savvy and things like that. She's seen all these labels reaching out to me. So we decided that we were gonna go to these meetings, set up these meetings, and figure out if I should sign. And by this time, I had already asked her could she be my manager.
Some viewers saw this as an immediate red flag, a way for Clarence and those within his immediate family to exploit Queen and the money she was making off of her music career. I personally do not like mixing business with friendships and family, just because of the whole boundaries aspect of it can become blurred really quickly and really easily. But I do know that a lot of people do it, because in business you have to be involved with people you trust, and who do you trust more than your closest family and friends? So who am I to say really on that one? What was Chris up to around this time? In July of 2018, Chris and his friends were arrested by the Houston Police Department. This was all due to a YouTube video that Chris and his friends posted of them pretending to arrest people, pretending to be police officers, and pulling people over. According to court documents, Chris and his friend back in 2016 posted 2 videos on their respective YouTube channels, pranking people, pretending their car was a police car, and then pulling people over. In the video, the men can be heard laughing and following people with their car with fake police lights on top of their car. It's like one of the most obviously illegal things that you can do, and they filmed the entire thing. They were driving a dark colored Ford Fusion with a red and blue grille, as well as flashing lights on top. At one point, the group pulled over a security guard. In the video, one of the guys said, "I pulled you over because you were speeding. I'm just playing. It's a prank." They then got back in the car and pulled someone else over. Impersonating a police officer is illegal in most US states, so Chris Sales faced a felony charge of impersonating a public servant.
This is funny, man. Houston police don't find it funny and identified a victim and later arrested 4 people from the video. Each suspect appeared in court this morning. Devontae Sullivan, Christopher Sales.
So very quickly after this split, Chris and Queen began living 2 completely different lives. While Chris was running around town getting into trouble, Queen was making business and relationship moves. In January of 2018, Clarence uploaded his first YouTube video with Queen, and over the next few weeks, the pair would continue uploading content together. Through their content, people followed Queen as she healed from a traumatic relationship. At the time, it was fairly common for creators to post content playing into the will they, won't they trope. Queen and Clarence really leaned into this content genre. They would really post anything that would cause their audience, who was already parasocially involved with this whole dynamic, to further speculate on whether or not they were in a relationship, which would garner more clicks and views for their videos.
But you really didn't want to give me a kiss.
It's not that I didn't want to give you a kiss.
Then what is
that
it?
had nothing to do with it.
Essentially, Clarence and Queen's relationship started as strictly business. Over time, the more they worked together, the two grew into a romantic relationship.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, this is a money move. Maybe I come out there and like we do some videos. Even if I had a crush on him or liked him, I still consider him my friend. The more and more we got to know each other and be together, you know, he felt my vibe. He got to know me more.
This strategy worked really, really well, and Queen Naija had completely built back her own personal YouTube channel, with both her flourishing music career and her posts with Clarence. Queen Naija's YouTube channel hit 5 million subscribers and 1.1 billion video views. The relationship between Queen and Clarence has been riddled with controversy, with many, many people not believing that Clarence's intentions are true.
The beat ugly.
What you said? Yeah. Oh. That's beef. How you feel about that?
Like I wanna cry. He's so handsome. He just, sorry, not just handsome, but like he's just so, just when I just look at you, it's everything. What?
At the time the two got together, Queen was more established than Clarence. Clarence was essentially an aspiring model and content creator who lived in his mother's basement, so people painted him as an opportunist who used Queen to get famous.
I've seen it before, where it's like they just in it for the money or whatever. They just securing a bag. We could literally separate and I still would make money, and I feel like he still would make money. Because they say you was securing the bag a lot. They say you was gonna get your clout and dip.
I also think personally, a lot of this stems from the very parasocial relationship people had already developed with Chris and Queen. Now mom and dad got divorced and Steve, the weird guy next door, was moving in. I'm Steve. It didn't feel right to a lot of viewers because Clarence wasn't Chris. He acted different, but to a lot of people who were used to the attitude of Chris, Clarence's change of behavior to them meant he was not interested or attracted in Queen. And to many viewers, Clarence became the stepdad role to their parasocial internet parental figures.
You know Clarence don't got no personality. He come on stream, yo, Mo, like, I'm over here taking care of your son.
But in August of 2018, 8 months after Clarence and Queen started making content together, the couple announced that Queen was pregnant with their first child.
Hello, family. It's your girl, Queen Naija.
It's your boy Clarence NYC. You're pregnant.
No, that we're pregnant.
You're pregnant.
No, we're pregnant.
I think it's impossible for both of us to be
We're both pregnant.
You're pregnant, but with my child, so it's like...
Many people thought that this pregnancy happened way too soon after the start of their relationship, especially since their relationship started just for the sake of YouTube content. Chris soon after also entered a new relationship, which he heavily promoted on social media. Viewers were initially very positive about this new relationship, so the more Chris posted about it, the more he was able to profit from it. In early 2018, Chris started dating actress Parker McKenna Posey, best known for her role as Katie Kyle on the hit ABC sitcom My Wife and Kids. Parker's performance as Katie made her a fan favorite. She was a familiar face in early 2000s television. After the show ended, Parker continued acting, taking roles in films such as Games People Play and A House Divided. But once Chris and Parker began dating, Parker moved from LA to live with Chris in Houston, putting her entire life on hold. Almost immediately, Chris started including Parker in his YouTube content, and the two began uploading couples content together. This included yet again the stereotypical couples content, vlogs, story times, Q&As, and pranks. Similar to Chris and Queen, while Chris and Parker portrayed a happy relationship online, their relationship was darker than expected behind closed doors.
Was the relationship itself toxic in terms of emotionally or mentally abusive?
Yes, definitely.
And I want to say right now, this next part of this chapter is pretty dark and it's pretty graphic. So there's a huge trigger warning. In September of 2018, charges were filed in which Parker levied claims of Chris becoming enraged and slapping her. Charging documents say Chris Sales struck the complainant's left arm and torso area with a closed fist, causing pain and bodily injury. Sales allegedly then put his hands around McKenna's neck, choking her while repeatedly slamming the back of her head against the concrete. Parker McKenna told investigators she tried to throw bottles at Chris Sales in order to escape, but missed. The attack left her with dark golf ball sized bruises, as well as a black eye, swollen face, and marks consistent with strangulation around her neck. Parker McKenna's team told prosecutors that Chris Sales got enraged after he saw a DM on her phone from another man. McKenna called the police, and Chris Sales was accused of third-degree felony assault. According to reports, Parker McKenna initially tried to cover up the situation. She initially claimed that she got the injuries from an attacker that was a woman who came to visit her. Chris has tried claiming to news outlets that he was only acting in self-defense.
Yeah, so he just said there was alcohol involved and there was a lot going on in front of his son, and he felt like he needed to protect himself.
I can't give too many details, but I can just say that
that's a lie.
That's a lie, and I'll just leave it at that.
There are also people who tried to dig up past prank content to try to run with the narrative of mutual abuse.
Maybe you were playing rough with him.
Well,
they say that maybe you could have.
They're talking about pranks, and I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but all of those pranks are fake.
I think this is why that idea or concept of mutual abuse can be so harmful, as a way to try and shift attention and blame away from the abuser and try and put equal blame on the victim. Chris Sales was then placed in police custody in a jail in Houston. At the time, Queen made a vague, cryptic tweet that was seemingly about this situation. Get your life back, baby girl, if you feel like it's been drained from you. This maybe says a lot, considering she was in a relationship with Chris and definitely got her life back afterwards, becoming a successful musician. Parker herself tweeted, "Going through things you never thought you'd go through will only take you places you never thought you'd get to. I want my body and my life back." Don't cry. Haven't been feeling like myself lately, but it's time to snap out of it. According to court documents, a judge granted a restraining order for Parker, prohibiting Chris Sales from communicating with her or coming within 200 feet of her. In February of 2019, a court order obtained by The Blast revealed that a Texas judge ordered that Chris Sales be restricted from using YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or any other social media platform while out on bond. The judge also modified the original terms to prohibit Sales from leaving Texas. Chris Sales reportedly needed to obtain GPS monitoring by the end of the month, but Chris Sales requested the ban on social media be lifted. He accused the order of violating his freedom of speech, as well as blocking him from his regular source of income, which also prohibits defendant to adequately provide for his son.
Happened, I promise to God on my son, none of that stuff happened. All that stuff that y'all read, do not believe social media. None of that happened, I promise to God.
The same year that everything took place with Parker and Chris, Queen and Clarence created a new YouTube channel where they posted couple and family content. The channel has since been named Queen and Clarence and has gone on to amass more than 2.85 million subscribers. The couple's initial posts focused on family vlog style content surrounding Queen's pregnancy. Their gender reveal is the most popular video on their joint channel. Their content also focused on Queen's music career. Months prior, Queen had just signed with Capitol Records. Queen had also just released her highly anticipated second single titled Karma. On the same day as releasing the song, it reached #1 on the iTunes charts. The next month, Queen released her self-titled EP. The EP debuted at number 26 on the Billboard 200 and reached #1 on the Apple Music R&B charts. From the early days of not even making it into the top 20 on American Idol to now being an incredibly successful R&B star.
people that was like, your career has ended. Hey, baby. I'm supporting.
Queen and Clarence made content together in New York City for a few months, and then in August of 2018, they both moved to Atlanta together. This would eventually become a little bit complicated. If you remember, when Chris was arrested, the judge ordered he could not leave Houston. So Chris Sales remained in Houston, Texas, where he wasn't even allowed to leave, while Queen, her new relationship, and her family were building a life for themselves in Atlanta. This meant that their son CJ had to travel back and forth between the two states in order to visit his father in Houston. Queen and Clarence welcomed their first son together, named Legend Lorenzo White, in January of 2019.
As y'all know, I got a beautiful baby boy right here.
Chris's parenting, on the other hand, has always been questionable. Queen herself has stated that while Chris was there physically, he's always remained emotionally absent and uninvolved in CJ's life as a father. Things just got progressively worse after Chris and Queen separated. One of the most concerning incidents occurred in 2019, where Chris uploaded a prank on his son CJ, in which Chris pretended to pass out. In the video, CJ can be heard screaming for his father to wake up. It's just really sad to see a child screaming like that for the sake of a fucking prank. Chris later deleted the video, but posted a response to all the backlash he was receiving to Instagram, where he wrote, "Sorry if I'm a little bit sassy. Out of all the love I have instilled in my son, in front of y'all's eyes, I play a prank on my baby that might be extreme, but does not mean I love my son less. At this point, y'all are trying to break me." It's almost like Chris cannot cope with people not liking him. For such a long time, people developed a parasocial relationship with him. Chris created this perfect image online and this perfect idea of who he is as a father. And now all of that is shattering in comparison with the reality of how he truly lives. And Chris himself can't cope with people knowing the reality of who he is. In August of 2019, Chris started dating a musician and influencer named Savvy. But only a few months into their relationship, when Chris was on Instagram Live, he was asked about the status of his relationship. Chris claimed he was now single because Savvy was messaging secretly with Chris Brown.
Bro, she was talking to Chris Brown.
In my opinion, this live was Chris trying to get ahead of the story. 3 months after the pair broke up, Savvy came forward with claims that Chris Sales abused her, along with photos that showed bruising.
I'm a liar. This picture is dated October 30th. That is his house. That's me there. You can see me. Like, you can literally see his bathroom in the back.
Chris went on Instagram Live where he claimed that Savvy was broke and looking for attention, and that this all started because he wanted to log off Instagram on her phone. It kind of sounds like he's the one with insecurity issues.
See Chris Brown on my son. This desperate, this looking for attention. Don't believe this. She's doing anything to get attention. Oh God, you dirty. I put my hands on you because you was and I grabbed you by your arms because my Instagram was on your phone and I wanted to get my Instagram on your phone.
Chris's behavior gets even more concerning when in April of 2020, when CJ was in Houston with his father and Queen was still in Atlanta, Queen posted on Instagram that her son was missing and she was unable to locate him. "I need my son now. Whoever has my son, contact me now. If you guys know who Chris be around and with, DM me. I cannot locate my son. Nobody is answering me," she wrote. At the time, people were wondering why Queen hadn't contacted Chris directly and instead opted to post on Instagram. What was happening with Chris? Why was CJ missing? And why did Queen need to post this publicly on Instagram? Queen was luckily able to quickly locate her son and explained further what was happening in a second post. "To be clear, I found where my baby was and spoke to him and will be with him soon. I would never post anything like this for attention," she said before explaining that she had received a call from CPS regarding CJ. But after reaching out to those she knew in Houston and not getting a response, she resorted to social media. "I only made a post in hopes of someone reaching out to me on IG who's around my son often because I don't know anyone's socials. Everything is fine, thanks. Reports then surfaced online showing that Chris had been arrested for aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury. At the time, he was being held on $15,000 bail in Houston. It came out that Chris ended up getting arrested because someone called CPS on Chris's home.
One day, not too long ago, I got a call from a Texas number. I didn't know who it was, but I picked it up anyway because I thought it probably could be important. And it was a CPS worker. It was a social worker.
Then, during a wellness check, they discovered that Chris had a warrant out for his arrest and subsequently arrested him. Chris supposedly reached out to an ex-girlfriend named Jayla and asked if she could look after his son CJ while he was in jail.
The reason why social services probably contacted Queen is because when they went to arrest Chris Sales, nobody was probably in the house. Even though a lot of people live in the house, that don't mean they're always there. So I'm pretty sure nobody was in the house at the time when Chris Sales was about to get arrested. It was probably just him and CJ.
In the aftermath of Chris's arrest, his mother and grandmother decided that a good use of their time would be to make a video. Chris's mother claimed that she talked to Queen and gave Queen several updates throughout the day, which Queen denied in the comments. Chris's grandmother seemed more upset by the fact that Queen left their family after her and Chris separated.
Where are you now? Tell me that, Queen. What stopped you from being in Houston? Because ain't nothing running but the plane.
They would be in quarantine. That's one reason why she couldn't fly. But I was told that...
Quarantine me! I don't give a damn about no quarantine! Quarantine me! She divorced Chris. But in the midst of her divorcing Chris, she didn't have to divorce Granny. She didn't have to divorce her other mother-in-law. She didn't have to divorce the other kids that's in his sisters.
It's very interesting to look at the women in Chris Sale's life and how little they chose to hold him accountable. Upon being released, Chris went on Instagram Live and suggested that he's the best dad in the world.
I am the best dad. Anybody that knows me knows I take care of my son. I'm around my son 24/7.
But beyond just this incident, Chris exposing his child, CJ, to a bunch of random people has been a frequent talking point. Chris's former manager, Janae, has talked about how Chris would invite a bunch of random people back to his home.
Chris was bringing strangers into the house on a regular basis. He would be just randomly somewhere and a group of people. I remember one time I came over to their house. There was like a group of young boys or whatever because they had a bike. I know they had a bike. What do y'all call it? Motorcycle. He had a bike and he was showing Chris in the garage and stuff. And so when I came in, everybody was in there. The people had brought food. Everybody was in. I was like, who are these people? And they was like, we don't know. He just met them at the store.
According to Chris, after that incident, Queen sought full custody.
I never knew people could be so evil. Try to get full custody.
In May of 2021, Chris tweeted about not being able to see his son, writing, "You break somebody's heart, that's one thing, but trying to take their child away and give them a limited amount of time for 1 month the whole year is dead wrong."
I appreciate when you got a good, a good father in their child's life that take care of them, that want to see them. There's so many deadbeats out here in this world.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Queen responded to Chris's tantrum, saying he gets to see his son at least a week out of each month. He's mad he only gets 1 month out of the summer. Based on the situation CJ has been put in while in his father's care and the evidence I have in my files, I'm being very lenient. Over the years, Chris constantly mentions Queen and Clarence online. Because of all of his other actions, this feels like Chris trying to just further control the narrative of what's played out in the public eye and also further exert his control over Queen.
That's what I'm saying.
I remember I wasn't able to wear a bathing suit in my last relationship.
Bathing suit?
Yeah, I had to put shorts over my, even if it was a one piece, I couldn't do it.
First of all, I didn't care if Shorty wore a bathing suit, no offense, but she was insecure in the anyways. That's why she went and got a BBL. Well, if it was so bad, why did you stay with me for 6 years if everything was just bad?
On Father's Day in 2019, long after Queen and Chris had broken up, Chris made a post on Instagram dedicated to Queen.
YouTuber Chris Sails wrote a nice message to the mother of his child, Queen Naja, on Father's Day. He said, "Even though it's Father's Day, I want to acknowledge the strong mothers we have. Thanks for being the best mom to our son when I was not there. No matter what we've been through, I know we both love our son to death. Keep being great."
Yet a lot of people root for Chris and want Chris to get back together with Queen because of his actions online. Chris knows how to play things up for the camera, pretend to be the perfect guy, twist a story, gaslight the general public. He knows how to love bomb, and because of that, people think that he genuinely loves Queen and that they should be together. Although Queen has made a lot of music inspired by her failed marriage, an artistic outlet for a tumultuous time in her life, I'm assuming, she largely tries to avoid mentioning or talking about Chris in interviews. In October of 2019, Chris released his second EP titled Letter to My Ex 2. This EP included a song titled Queen, which featured their son CJ. Queen was about to release her second studio album, Misunderstood, and in anticipation for the album, released the song Bitter. This song had several lyrics that could possibly be applied to Chris. Chris heard the song and supposedly took it to heart, making an Instagram post about how he can love Queen like no other. "I can love you better than he can, I promise," he wrote on Instagram. How would he continue to prove himself? Instead of becoming a serious partner and father, Chris and his friends got together and faked a car accident, allegedly. A friend of Chris's named Jordan made a post telling viewers that Chris had been in a car accident, and his cryptic post made it sound like the car accident was life-threatening.
So 2 days ago, Chris Sails' best friend Jordan posted up a message saying that Chris Sails got into a bad car accident, and according to his post, he said he got hit by a drunk driver.
Jordan then logged onto Chris's Instagram page, somehow gaining access to Chris's Instagram page even though he had no contact with him, and told people to report an account named YouTube Leaks. This account had, according to Jordan, who was on Chris's Instagram page, leaked a video of Chris's car accident.
Jordan goes live on Chris Sails' page and he's like, "Oh, leak the videos."
The leak included a video of Chris seemingly lying in a hospital bed with bandages, bruises, and a neck brace, but fans could not see the full video of this accident unless they clicked the link on the Instagram bio, which redirected them to an OF account, which required them to pay $15 to gain access to this footage. And since it's an OF account, that means they have to subscribe for a monthly $15 fee. Then, after paying the $15 subscription, concerned fans ended up finding out it was just the same exact video that was posted on Instagram in the first place, and the fans were indubiously scammed.
Obviously, I did not find the video until after he got off of live and he posted this up on Chris Sails' page. Now, if you don't want the video to get out, why would you put up the page that has the video?
So, who was really behind this whole scam? Chris's friend Jordan also had to have permission from Chris himself to gain access to his Instagram account. So it seems fairly clear that Chris himself was the true, mastermind behind this whole scheme, all to trick his most parasocial followers, who would be the most concerned about his well-being, into paying for an OF subscription so they could make sure he was okay. The account YouTube Leaks that promoted this leaked accident footage has over 500 followers. If every follower of this account also clicked the OF link and subscribed, which is unlikely, but let's just hypothetically say so, the owner of that OF account would have made $7,500, plus a little extra depending on how long each person stayed subscribed to the OF subscription. Chris eventually posted on his Instagram story claiming that he never had bruises, and that this video that was posted on this random leak account must have been edited by a third party. He claimed that he only sent this video to family members and had no idea how it must have gotten leaked.
They said this looked like a t-shirt rolled up under his neck.
Whoever had that video or got a hold of the video had to edit it or whatever the case may be and post it. I never posted that. I never even posted that video. So I don't even know how the heck anybody had got.
Out of the blue, an alleged but mysterious tell-all book called Queen of Lies surfaced online. The book seemed like it was written from the perspective of Clarence's ex-girlfriend Leslie. The book tells a story of a girl whose boyfriend left her for another woman while pursuing fame and fortune.
Somebody put under my thing that I hope it isn't true that your ex wrote a book about
But Leslie came forward and denied having to do anything with the book. Something that Leslie claimed in her video that started a lot of rumors was that her and Clarence used to watch Chris and Queen before Queen reached out to Clarence. Chris used this as a gotcha moment, claiming that Clarence was with Queen basically because he just wanted to be like Chris.
Me and Clarence used to watch her videos with Chris Sales.
Like, I didn't even know dude existed. I've been me my whole life. I will never want to be like another man, but that is crazy, bro. Listen, I'm a GOAT. Like, you can't deny the fact that I started this wave. I didn't start it, but I put a lot of motherfuckers on.
Leslie also claimed that Clarence left her for Queen because Queen was just better for him and his financial interests.
We had two different goals at that time. You feel me? I feel like my goal was to be successful, and I feel like your goal was to be happily in love. Feel me? And that just wasn't the kind of time I was on.
However, Clarence himself has claimed that his relationship with Leslie was over months before he started speaking with Queen. From this whole back and forth, Chris and Leslie, the two alleged heartbroken exes, began to collaborate on content. Chris and Leslie soon started making YouTube videos together, and their content heavily leaned into the idea of irritating their exes through whatever they were doing. But people quickly bought into the idea of them becoming a legitimate couple.
I'm thankful that God brought Leslie into my life, and I'm not worried about nobody else.
Do you guys like each other?
Did you answer it?
I said I do like you. Yes, I do think you're handsome.
Okay. I think Leslie is gorgeous, phenomenal, sweet.
Aside from his looks, I like that he's very encouraging and overall very positive. He's super positive. He's one of the most positive persons in my life right now.
Chris and Leslie seem to try and seek closure through winning the breakup.
What did we think about our exes dating?
I don't know if I should say this or not. I actually had a real chemistry. Like, I thought they was cute.
The thing is, once again, Chris is talented at playing a loving partner on social media. And somehow each time Chris gets into a new relationship, the audience has amnesia over all of his past indiscretions. So very soon into Chris and Leslie posting about their relationship, fans began to hope that this could be the next big couple online. However, as we know by now, when it comes to social media, and especially Chris Sales, not everything is what it seems. Only a few months into Chris and Leslie's relationship, rumors began to spread online that Leslie had cheated on Chris with singer Jeremiah.
Rumors are that Leslie is cheating on Chris Sales with singer Jeremiah. Supposedly over the weekend, Leslie flew to LA to hang out with Jeremiah.
But soon after the rumors died out, once again, Leslie was seen in Hawaii with her ex-boyfriend, not Chris. Leslie posted her own video detailing her side of how everything transpired. According to Leslie, she reached out to Chris to collaborate shortly after a breakup. Even though their relationship started with the intention of doing business, Leslie ended up falling for Chris. Leslie briefly moved to Houston with Chris to create content. Once again, a woman upending her entire life and moving to Houston for Chris, during which their business relationship turned intimate.
I ended up making that move and I go to Texas and I stay with him for the whole month. I think that was the month of November. Things started getting complicated when we mixed business with pleasure. I feel like that was the biggest fallout. I feel like I should have never opened up that door.
As we know by now, it would not take long for Chris to show his true colors. Mainly, Chris continued to tell Leslie they weren't really in a relationship together. Even though she moved to Houston for him, they lived together, were intimate together, did business together. What form of a relationship were they not in? So during this time, Leslie took a trip to LA to meet with a friend. Her friend works in the music industry, so they were associating with people like Jeremiah.
Chris had called me and he was like, "Did you do this with him? Did you do that?" And I was like, "No, Chris, I didn't." Then he was upset that everybody was making it more than what it was, and I too was upset. I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous.
Then when Leslie got back to Houston, Chris made her unfollow Jeremiah and all other men she followed during her time in LA. Yet it seems, surprise surprise, just kidding, we're not surprised, Chris was talking to other women. Leslie and Chris subsequently went on a break, but then got back together to go on a trip to Puerto Rico for her birthday. During the trip, the two got into a fight when a man called Leslie beautiful and wished her a happy birthday. Leslie claimed that this fight on the trip in Puerto Rico ended up being really ugly.
It escalated it got disrespectful. He called me on my name. And for things not to get worse than what they were already, I told one of my friends to tell him to leave.
Eventually, Chris left the vacation early and the two ended their relationship for good. People have continued to criticize Queen and Clarence's relationship, but for a completely different reason. During the course of Queen and Clarence's relationship, people have criticized Clarence for not proposing.
I'm not gonna lie, this kind of made me a bit sad. I feel like I know and you guys know that she wants to get married. I remember scrolling on Instagram and seeing her talk about how she really wants to be married.
Because Clarence hasn't proposed to Queen, the internet has gradually started to turn on them, questioning how Clarence can give Queen a child but fail to take that next step in their relationship. That in itself is a very odd dynamic when it comes to posting your relationship online and monetizing it. Ultimately, when you monetize your relationship and what you're posting for the general public, you're sort of leaving yourself to the mercy of the general public's opinions and views. So they're gonna ultimately have some harsh takes if the way that you're conducting your relationship doesn't align with how they think that it should go. And as messed up as it is, you also kind of put yourself up for that because your relationship is your business. You're making money off of your relationship, monetizing it for the general public, making it into consumable videos for people to view. Clarence not proposing to Queen also added to the speculation that he was just using her.
You want to get married?
No.
You want to get married? You want to get married? I do.
Would you want to be married again, small or big wedding?
I definitely want to be married, and I never got to have a wedding, so.
Do you fart?
He baby trapped her so that the financial success of her music career would always be a part of his life through this child, but didn't want to marry her because he didn't want to be tied down to her. He just wanted to tie her down. And Chris has somehow decided that this relationship is entirely his business. Chris even gives marriage advice to Queen, as if he's the perfect source to turn to for relationship advice.
When you laughing at my videos, watch them hoes right in front of him. Make them mad until he marry you. I'm everywhere now. Can't hide it, baby girl. So when you see this and you cracking up, I know you be laughing at my videos. I know. You used to laugh at me all the time. You remember Stink?
And the backlash over Clarence and Queen has continued to this day.
I'ma say it. They were never supposed to get past the medicine video.
Queen posted a photo holding a bride-to-be banner. She ended up admitting that she wasn't actually getting married and was just trolling the internet. Even if it was real, look at how people find something negative regardless. That's why I'm going to the courthouse, Queen wrote. Chris, of course, immediately created a response video, essentially laughing at Queen and saying she looked silly for the entire thing and hitting on her all at once. Talk about whiplash. He was laughing, saying, "Now that was a close one. I really thought they got married. I was in my room crying night out and day in."
But now, on a serious note, baby girl, you did not troll us. You trolled yourself.
Queen responded to Chris's Instagram video saying, "While he's laughing at me, I hope this coin he making off my name help out a little bit with some of his son's expenses, cause I gave him grace by not putting him on child support. I've been so nice. He hasn't taught his son anything valuable. It's sad that another man had to come and do his part," shaking my head. "Yeah, he may have made me a wife quickly, but he also put bruises on me during the marriage, choked me up, ruined my self-confidence, calling my body ugly after giving birth to his child, carelessly stepped out on our marriage countless of times, hogged all the money we made and other unspeakable things, but laughing at me cause I haven't married again yet. I'd rather take my time in a healthy relationship than be in a traumatic marriage. I can only pray my son doesn't turn out like him." Absolutely brutal. If Chris wasn't the type of person that thrived off of both negative and positive attention, that rebuttal might have shut him up for good. But Chris decided to respond back to Queen yet again. On Instagram Live, Chris complained that Queen only talks about the negative things in their relationship and that she never talks about all the good times they had. When there's so many negatives, I kind of say that outweighs any possible positives. Yet instead, people were still focused on what he was doing now instead of what he had been through in the past, because what he was doing now was so ridiculous. To try and switch up his social media content, Chris started interviewing young girls on college campuses. And yes, it gets as weird as you think. In October of 2022, Chris started receiving a lot of backlash for doing street interviews on college campuses. Street interviews are a type of social media content where people go out and ask random people on the street, well, random questions. The problem is, when Chris started interviewing these random college students, he started asking them very sexual questions.
I can kiss you on the cheek or I can grab your ass.
Chris started asking students if he could kiss them on the cheek or grab their butts. In one video, Chris asked a college student what part of a woman's body men found most attractive. He later kissed that same student on the lips. When people questioned why a grown man and a father was hanging around college students, some of whom may still be under the age of 18, Chris tweeted, "LMAO, if I wanted to date a freshman in college, I can do that." Yeah, that is not helping your case. He added, "Once you're of age, you are legal to talk to any age you want." The girl who kissed Chris is named Sienna, and she posted a TikTok responding to the backlash. Sienna confirmed that she is of legal age and was consenting to everything that happened. Sienna also defended the way Chris acted, seemingly afraid that Chris's actions would also reflect badly on her. It's unfortunate that Sienna felt in any way a need to defend herself for Chris's creepy actions.
Yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check. I'm just kidding. On Twitter, y'all are literally dragging my name. They're like, I'm gonna figure out who she is. She thinks this is cute, kissing a grown man.
At the time, Chris was 27 years old, asking inappropriate questions to girls nearly a decade younger than him. Chris's desperation to gain attention from social media was reaching new lows. Chris's mindset regarding dating women that were significantly younger than him also was very concerning.
You need to be mad at whoever made the laws, because technically 18 and up is legal.
This concern has heightened most recently when it came to light that Chris has started dating a woman named Jasmine who's 8 years younger than him. Chris is 28, Jasmine is 20, though Jasmine looks incredibly young.
Since apparently everybody got a problem with me talking to somebody or being like older than me, right? Because I'm 20 years old. I'm not 19 actually. I'm 20.
Unlike Chris's previous relationships, he and Jasmine opted not to make content on YouTube, instead deciding to upload explicit content together to Chris's TikTok and OF account. Chris probably hoping there was another money-making opportunity there. And there's so much to be said about how gross that is. I mean, it seems like he roped his girlfriend into S-work. In the past, Chris has taken his new relationships and roped them into his social media content, having them engage in their relationship content manufactured for their audience so he could profit off of them. Now, instead of doing that, he roped his girlfriend into making content, but explicit content, retroactively roping her into S-work, all through marketing their age gap relationship and how young Jasmine looks. What kind of people do you think are watching their OF content? You can probably guess where I'm going with this. You have to wonder, all of the wild things that Chris has done, all of the back and forth between Chris, Clarence, and Queen, it has to end at some point, right? But it never does. Now, in just the past few months, Chris has essentially become an online meme. He's created a community on TikTok where he posts videos discussing online internet gossip and the latest in celebrity culture and news.
Cardi B, when you see this girl, text me, call me, do whatever.
With his own catchphrases and everything.
Can't be in her right mind. She gotta be in her left mind, because she ain't talking to me like that.
These videos have led to Chris having a resurgence in popularity, mainly due to a huge change in persona and a change in tone in the videos that he posts, making them more comedic and lighthearted.
Or maybe she see me and him. On my soul, on my granny. I don't chase her.
And suddenly, it was like people's memories were completely wiped clean of all of Chris's past actions. Or the fans who were around long enough found excuses for it all. Just being a likable enough internet personality was a good enough reason to be forgiven. With his new online presence, instead of leaving Queen and Clarence alone and focusing on his career, he just doubled down further, continuing to make videos on Queen and Clarence. Eventually, Clarence responded.
Your attitude and your character is really determined by how much money you got. And I don't think a lot of people notice that about you.
Clarence called Chris a deadbeat, saying Chris completely neglected his parental responsibilities, abandoning CJ both emotionally and financially.
And how would you know? I think sometimes the things you do, you're not really a good example.
While to the public, Chris would often act like he was constantly fighting for more time with his child, even sometimes claiming that Clarence and Queen weren't involving him in his child's life. Clarence claimed that Chris completely gave up on seeing CJ.
If Queen said, here, I need you to take care of Chris, I can't do it no more, or if anything was happening, I'm going to take my son. It's just court ordered to where she keep him during school years.
It wasn't the whole summer, it was like 2-3 weeks. And instead of getting him for those 2-3 weeks, you said, I'm not gonna get him the whole summer. Like, it's those little moments that you can step up and be a father.
The narrative of Chris being a neglectful parent has been a sentiment reflected in the other mothers of Chris's children. Yes, that's right, the other mothers of Chris's other children. Many people don't know that Chris actually has 4 children. Chris went on to have 3 more children with 3 other women after his marriage with Queen ended. In March of 2020, Chris impregnated a spicy dancer whose name was Erica. I'm saying spicy dancer because I'm not sure if YouTube will allow any other word for the profession. According to Erica, she and Chris met on Instagram after he slid into her DMs. A little over a month later, she ended up getting pregnant. When Erica explained to Chris that she was pregnant, his reaction was mixed. The two argued about the pregnancy a lot, and Erica went on to leak text messages and phone calls exchanged between her and Chris.
The rumors are true. Yes, Chris does have a baby on the way. Listen to this.
But you think that you're gonna have my daughter, my baby, in that house where you have a lot of traffic going through and you sleep with hella bitches in that bed.
They did end up later reconciling, and Chris was present in the delivery room when Erica gave birth to their son, Artist Sales. Despite at first seeming to have a good co-parenting relationship, Erica came out with tweets claiming that Chris ended up not being present at all in her son's life. According to Erica, Chris failed to provide his child with the proper necessities. Chris also completely ignored his son Artist when Artist started to show early signs of autism.
I don't care what type of mental illness, disorder, challenges that your baby faces, your baby should not be facing that alone, and you should be doing everything in your power to ensure that that baby has the proper resources and tools.
Then in 2021, Chris discovered he had another son named Blake, who was younger than CJ but older than Artist. Apparently, Chris didn't know that this son existed and only found out through mutual friends.
That Chris Sales does have another son named Blake. Now, Blake is his second son. He's older than Artist, younger than CJ, obviously. He's about roughly like 2 or 3 years old, and according to Chris, he did not know about this child.
Blake's mother did not want Chris involved in his life, but Blake's mother, whose name is Piper, ended up going on Instagram Live and talking about how Chris actually ignored tons of text messages and calls from her so that he could make content with Leslie at the time.
Chris Sales revealed in a video yesterday that he surprised Leslie by flying out to Florida. He finally got travel permission from his probation officer to fly to Florida, so that's how he was able to go after all of these years.
I've reached out enough. I've reached out. I'm just over it.
Sometime in 2021, Chris had another child named Parker. Present day, Chris posts himself on TikTok with Parker often, doing the same family-friendly, good dad image thing that he used to do with CJ.
His name is Parker. He's not, stop saying whose white baby that is. He's black and white. You white or black?
I'm black.
Good job. Now your skin color may not say that, but you black. You black, okay? So if the police pull you over, what you gonna say? If the police pull you over and say, is you black or white, what you gonna say? Black or white?
Black.
No. You say why?
I thought that this was an important video because oftentimes when we talk about family channels and how they fake a lot of things for the camera and Instagram feed, it seems like a lot of that sort of criticism is focused on the mothers of those family channels. But Chris is an example that men can fake parenting for the camera too. Even though Chris loves to post himself on Instagram and social media looking like a good father, in the past few years, Chris has received criticism from Erica and Piper for being an absent father.
What type of man tells his son's mother that he doesn't want his son because I cut his hair? What type of man say he love his kids online but don't even see them in real life nor provide?
No, he don't see his motherfucking son. Yes, he have every motherfucking opportunity to see his motherfucking son. He got my phone number, everything. Don't call, don't text.
Chris claimed he couldn't show up for any of his children because he was struggling financially. He claimed he has a good relationship with all of his children's mothers, and that CJ specifically doesn't ask for much.
That's really all I can afford. No, I be at my last money still giving my son, here you go, baby. No, I be at my last money still giving my son, here.
Most adults know they should never be waiting for their children to tell them when they're needed. That is never going to happen. And when it is, it's probably too late and your child is already at a very low point. Instead of focusing on being a father to his 4 children, providing stability and love for them, Chris continues to meme post on social media, mainly making meme posts about Queen and Clarence online. Chris is constantly exposing Clarence for any scandal that he's involved in, which has in turn largely contributed to the complete destruction of Clarence's reputation. It feels a lot like, if I'm going down, you're all going down with me. Whenever Clarence is named in a possible cheating scandal, Chris is the first person to report on it.
Chris Sales reveals another girl Clarence is allegedly cheating on Queen Naja with.
It even seemed like there were some situations that Chris orchestrated to make it seem to the public like Clarence cheated on Queen. And then after he orchestrated it all, he reported on it. Online personality Selena Powell, who's infamous for her various rendezvous with famous rappers and athletes, posted a TikTok that insinuated that she and Clarence were having an affair.
She posted that on her TikTok. Everybody went crazy like, oh, it gotta be Clarence. It is Clarence, for sure Clarence. It has to be.
That is until Selena posted a new TikTok revealing her new love interest, who was Chris. People have since speculated that Chris was behind this whole thing, encouraging Selena to post a TikTok incriminating Clarence to ruin his image, which in turn further embarrasses Queen and makes her relationship look bad. And when Chris cannot control Queen through the online games they're playing, he tries to control her through their son. Clarence reminded Chris, through their back and forth, of an incident that occurred when Queen traveled to Houston to see their son CJ. Chris seemed calm at first, but he went off the rails the moment he entered a car alone with Queen.
She came to get CJ. Did you not take her keys, lock her in your car, and drive off speeding and crying? True or false? Did you not have a car and grabbed it and started acting sporadic? True or false?
Chris became enraged, driving at dangerously high speeds while waving a gun around. No matter the reason, driving recklessly to scare someone is a serious red flag. It can be considered a form of emotional abuse as well as intimidation and endangerment. When faced with having to address his domestic abuse cases and violence towards women, Chris often completely ignores that part of his past, albeit recent past.
I'm gonna tell y'all what I did first because I'm gonna take responsibility. I smacked the out of her. Yes, I did.
He think this shit is a game. It's fine.
After the back and forth between Chris and Clarence, Chris initially apologized, saying that he would stop using Queen and Clarence's name for social media engagement.
I do apologize. I really sincerely apologize, and I apologize to, fans, because I didn't really understand how I hurt fans. It took me to really just think about life.
But with nothing better to talk about, Chris resorted back to using their name in his content, needing the social media attention to make money so he can continue to not be there for his children.
If Chris Sales get back with Queen, I'm getting back with my ex.
Chris made a song called Red Couch dedicated to Queen and started making a ton of TikToks about how he wanted her back.
I won't even be mad if you text me right now and say, Chris, I am packing my things and I'm taking the kids and we're on our way back to Houston. I will not be mad, baby.
Chris even made a TikTok saying that he told CJ to play Red Couch at his mom's house, hoping to anger Clarence. And the cycle has continued. The story of Chris and Queen is such a wild story, and all I can really think is that this is a lesson to everyone watching, and I really hope that most of you watching haven't learned this lesson the hard way. And if you have, I am so sorry. Ultimately, be careful who you start a family with. A lot of people can be a wolf in sheep's clothing. In fact, people can be wolves in sheep's clothing for years and you don't know. That's the scary part. So you don't need to rush to have children. Let people show you who they are, not through their love bombing or their fluffy, lovey words, but through their actions over a long period of time. Because once you start a family with someone, they will be in your life forever. That is the true nightmare of the story of Chris and Queen. Not all that glitters is gold. And on social media, where a lot of influencers are posting their most gleaming, shiny moments, we have to realize that they're selling us fool's gold for the price of our engagement. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it all the way to the end. I've been really trying hard to post more frequently this year. That's a major goal of mine. I've appreciated all of your suggestions so far. We have such a great list of upcoming content topics, and it's all through your suggestions, what you want to see. And yeah, as always, I just appreciate the support. I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope that you are doing well as well. Stay well until then. Bye.